Welcome back to episode 3 of Indulge in Yourself.
Hi, everybody.
Excited to be here. Good vibes tonight. It's late
Only
night
good vibes.
Yeah,
late night vibes, actually.
So as promised, if you got to the end of episode 2, which I really recommend you go and watch, if you haven't, but we promised an analogy that will change your life, and we are not going to let down on that. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called The Mountain of Consciousness. And what book is it originally from?
So it's from the book called The Greatest Secret. I'm pretty sure her first name is Rhonda.
Yeah.
I want to say it's Brian, but I could be pronouncing that wrong. But it's
We
a great book.
definitely-
I got it from Target. I think it's like $13 on Amazon. I definitely think you should buy the book The Greatest Secret. It's definitely really good.
I think we both should reread it, probably.
I've actually reread it twice. It's an amazing book, and every time that you finish it, it's a great thing to keep going back to.
Something that was in the book was this idea of the mountain of consciousness, and I think you could interpret it a couple different ways, and it's way too much to give all in a video, but I think we broke it down in a very
simple kind of way that you can
change
understand.
Your mind.
Yeah,
a good place
open
to start.
your mind, change the way that you think, and kind of look at the world. And
yeah, so this is a really powerful episode, to say the least. But the mountain of consciousness, Alyssa, you can kick us off with trying to explain, the basis of what it is, because you're the master.
Because I'm the master. Wow.
I always say
Don't
that.
stop copying me.
Okay.
So basically, the mountain of consciousness, you have to literally visualize a mountain, I would say.
A real mountain.
Yeah. Everybody typically keeps themselves at the bottom of the mountain. They only see what's really right in front of them and what's surrounding them, but they never really take the time to look beyond or make their way kind of up the mountain to see life from different perspectives. And that's basically kind of like what you were saying earlier, how it's not really, the point isn't really to get to the peak of the mountain.
No.
But it's the climb.
It's the climb.
It's the climb. Miley Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus. Yeah. So I guess literally the analogy is a mountain that you are walking up, and if we think about it in a very
literal steps.
Yeah, but mountains don't have steps, so it's
no, these are steps in our brain that you can just visualize.
Yeah. And you would need a hiking stick.
When I visualize this mountain, I visualize it almost perfectly kind of rocky, some trees, maybe some snow, and then right directly in the middle there's just this forever going stairway to
that would be a nice mountain. Unfortunately, I don't think they just have stairways.
Well, picture the stairway in your mind.
Yeah, but I think you could take many journeys up the mountain, because someone could go up the stairs, but someone, those mountains
they might
that circle all the way
That's
around,
true.
and instead of just the straight way, which could be 10 years to make it to the top, you go 30 years.
And then there's me walking up the mountain. I'm like, oh my god, squirrel! Jump off and the stairs and make my way back to the bottom.
Or it's sometimes you go up the mountain a little and then you go down, and then you go up and then down. Basically everyone's life journey is different, and everyone's journey on this mountain is different. But in a very straightforward way, if you're at the bottom of the mountain, think about what you see. Visualize, close your eyes, what you see at the bottom of the mountain. You see the mountain in front of you. It's big and wide, but that's all you see. And then if you turn around, you probably see 10 feet in front of you, right?
Yeah.
Whatever is your immediate surroundings. And as you climb up that mountain, what happens is that you start seeing more of the world around you. And obviously at the top, the very peak of the mountain, you see a 360 view of all this stuff around you, right? I don't know if we ever get to the top of the mountain, but the point is, the more you climb up this mountain of consciousness, the more you're seeing, and the more the analogy is that the more you're knocking down the limitations of life that are put on us because of society, because of whatever. You're opening up your eyes, and you're knocking down those limitations. So if you see anything, it's almost envision your life and your consciousness, and this place you want to be is climbing up a mountain, and just take little steps.
Also, I do feel there is a way to get to the top, and I feel the whole point of this mountain also is obviously we have to say at the bottom of the mountain, let's consider it being just normal life shit, cars, highways, people going to work, people going to school,
your
people
everyday
going home.
life.
And then as you go up that mountain, you're I don't know, traveling, living your life, doing different things, seeing different perspectives of the world, whatever. But I think the whole point of the mountain of consciousness is awareness and keeping yourself aware. Now, when I mean aware, I don't mean you shouldn't have to think about it. It's a really, I feel hard concept to grasp.
It is. You need to read the book.
I feel this is why people fail at meditating, because they just don't have, I guess, the capacity to let their mind stop thinking. And you need to learn how to stay aware in the moment, and it kind of ties into one another. That's why I say read the book, because
you'll get it more.
Yeah.
But I think in this podcast, I feel like people are like, wow, you've been talking for 5 minutes about a fucking mountain. Like, how does this relate to, like, my life? But kind of what Alyssa was saying is, like, some people will live in their everyday life every day for the rest of their life, and that's fine, you know? But you don't realize how little you know about this world, about life. I mean, you don't know what happens after you die. We always say that. But even just in this world alone, you know what I mean? Like, society has shaped you since the time you were a little girl or boy. So things that you think are right or wrong or normal or not normal are all these like socially constructed conceptions. Because if you went to a different country, what you think is right, they might think is wrong. You know what I mean? But it's only like what you know. And some people never get out of their little bubble, their little sphere, and they only ever know what they know. But
some people are also comfortable with that, right?
And they are, but
which is fine. But like,
you know, if you want this more in life, you're gonna be forced to expand, and that's an example of like physical right or wrongs based on like, you know, countries. But that's also an example that can apply to your mindset. You only know what you know. And it's about kind of like opening this up and being open, and I guess gaining a new perspective and knocking down.
I feel like you have to be mentally
ready,
open to uncomfortable feelings or places, and kind of working your way through that, because people that stay in this little bubble, you know, they become very claustrophobic. They become, you know, they don't really want more, you know what I'm saying? But then once they get that little taste outside their bubble, like, oh my gosh, I really like this. I think I'm going to go out of my bubble more, you know, and then eventually your bubble expands, so you're not really in that bubble anymore. You know what I mean?
And this mountain of consciousness, I think, you know, you can take this a million different ways, but a way I can relate it, like, what has the mountain of consciousness, like, the first thing I can say as of right now, done for me? And I mean, I went on the mountain of consciousness journey before I knew about the mountain of consciousness, and then we read it, and we were like, what, you know what I mean? I think it's something that kind of just, you know, happens. And if you're listening to this right now, you're probably already on that journey,
or you're already thinking of something that is going to kind of be your mountain of consciousness. You know what 100%, I'm saying?
100%. But for me, I have always, like we've discussed, intuitive, whatever. But I would say around the time when I was 16, that's when, like, I just started experiencing so much anxiety. Like, just every little thing was overthought. And if you've been there, you've been there, okay? And then, like, probably around the age of 18, it was, like, really, really bad. And it just puts you in this, like, horrible, I know you know, like, horrible place where it's like the world just seems dark. It's almost like it's better to not be there, because you're worried about every situation that hasn't happened yet. You're, you know, you feel like you can't even be you or anything outside of the box, because what if this, what if that? And it's almost like you're just isolating yourself, and everything is something that's anxious, and that is no way to live. What is the point of living like that? I mean, it's horrible, and like, until you experience it, it just sounds like, oh, okay, whatever. You know what I mean? But then when you experience it, I feel like you get what someone's saying, and you're like, yeah, it sucks. And, like, you can't get out of your head. But for me, when I started going on this mountain of consciousness journey, without even calling it that, like, that is what has saved me from this anxiety. And I remember, I think I, like, even told you, and you were like, yeah, this is, like, a long, when we were first hanging out again. And it's just, like, an example I use, I love to travel. Activist, I'm a travel enthusiast because, not activist, enthusiast, because seriously, it'll humble you, it'll make you realize the world, yada, yada, yada. But when you're in that airport, everybody's texting you, it's busy, it's this and that, you're anxious, right? The second you get up on that plane, it doesn't matter how many plane rides I've been on, when I look down at those clouds, or like we're taking off or, you know, landing, and I see all the little people, and they're just little people, and the world's just moving, I get this, like, it's like my anxiety is gone for a second, because I'm like, I'm just this little speck in this world.
Out of touch, out of sight.
Out of touch, out of sight, and you just realize, like, your anxiety is centered on you, and you, and you, and everything in your life. But then you get up there, and you're just like, I'm just a little fucking speck, and, like, my life's gonna be over before I know it. And not that, you know, you want to live your whole life knowing it's going to be over before you know it, but it's like we all live and we all die. You just got to broaden your perspective. You got to realize what life is and what afterlife is, and be like, if I only have this one fucking life, do I really want to live day in and day out anxious about this stuff? And then, like, the stuff you're anxious about, does it really matter? Does it really matter? You know what I mean? Because one day I'm just going to die and nobody's going to care, or I'm not going to care, or whatever. So I'd rather embrace every damn moment of this life. And I think seeing life from that broader perspective, me on that airplane, actually reduces my anxiety and then allows me to live for me, or for the moment, or for my passions. And I'm not worried about what so-and-so says or what happens after. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's one interpretation of the mountain. It's not an interpretation of the mountain. It's more of like an effect that can come as you climb that mountain. It really has helped with anxiety for me.
I feel like I kind of had my own. I mean, I don't really feel like I would even think this way. I mean, yeah, I was a deeper child. I had a lot of weird experiences. I definitely knew I was different. And, I mean, now that I'm kind of where I'm at now and I see my peers, friends, family, you know, I notice I feel like I do have kind of like a special talent. And I'm not talking like a talent with my hands or my feet. I mean, like with my mind. Like
third eye.
Yeah, like I know where I want to be. I know the people I want to be around. I know when I'm welcomed. I know when I'm not, type of thing. But around the time, obviously, I was 19, you know, everything kind of like changed. But it was really honestly during the pandemic when everything shut down. I didn't realize that I was that one person that worked their feelings away. And I kept myself at that like little bottom of the mountain. And as I had all this time now, you know, being in quarantine, I realized, you know, like, what am I going to do with myself? You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know who I am anymore.
Yeah.
So,
which is probably something a lot of people experience.
I definitely needed it. It wasn't the best time of my life. But after I started working again, and then that's when I opened my business, I had really no money. I didn't really know what I was doing. And I was like, well, I'm never going to make it up my mountain if I don't just, you know, start taking steps now.
Yep.
So, you know, taking the first step and, you know, starting just a business account or registering my business and, like, you know, realizing that, you know, you make what you want to happen. I have not had a day off mentally in so long. But to me, it's
worth it.
It's worth it because the more I get up the mountain, the more free that I will become once I've overcome so many things I couldn't even work with the way that I was thinking. It was honestly horrible. And I realized that no matter how successful you are and no matter how much money you make, if you don't have a good mindset, then, like, what is the point of being alive? Like, when I get off work, I can complain about 5 things that happened that day, but hello, like, you get to go home, you get to sleep in a nice comfy bed and pet your animals and open your fridge and get some food and something to drink, put your comfies on, like, you know what I'm saying?
That's another thing I think. When you brought up, like, starting a business, it's not everybody's dream to start a business, but we all do have dreams. And
or
it's
endeavors
like,
or
it's
niches.
like, if you don't, it doesn't just, I mean, usually it's not just going to fall into your pocket or your hand, whatever the phrase is.
Maybe some people, but...
Yeah, maybe for some, but for the most of us, you do have to put in something to get there. From a lot of people I've talked to, when you kind of are considering stepping out from what you maybe thought you were going to do your whole life, what your parents had planned for you, what the normal is, it always comes with this, you're almost scared, not because of yourself or what happens, but because of what others might think or, like, what's not normal.
I feel like it's fear.
Yeah, but
like fear is a really good illusion on the brain.
Yeah, it's not, it's worldly things. It's not, you know, in the big scheme of things, it's nothing. And when you die, again, it doesn't come with you. The only things stopping you in this life truly from what you're already destined to do, like, if you have an inkling to do something, if you have a passion to do something, it's there because you're destined to do it. You know what I mean? That's why we don't all wake up and want to be nurses. There's some people that wake up and they just know that they want to be nurses. Like, all those things, you have to trust where life is leading you.
Or some people have really weird experiences.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it could be something as simple as, like, seeing something traumatic happen and you somehow save that person. You're like, oh my God, this is what I was meant to do. Like, I'm meant to save people, or whatever the case might be.
What you're meant to do could change throughout your whole entire life. But the thing is, you have to trust those feelings. Like, it's not just like, oh, I like, you know, this. No. You probably want to do that because that's what you're meant to do. And it's all destined for you. But that's, you know, we still have free will as people. Just because something's destined for us doesn't mean it's just going to happen to you. So it's like, it's destined to you if you tune into yourself and you put in the work to get there. And then it will happen. But you got to put in the work to get there.
But
the only thing stopping you are your own anxieties and your own fears.
I feel like people have this also problem with, you know, being at the bottom of the mountain, having the same perspective type of thing, right? But you're also looking at other people, other people's successes. You have, like, this imposter syndrome where you think that you you can never do that because, this, that, and the other. It's like, but why are you telling yourself that? What is making you think that you can't do that?
Yeah.
You can do anything you want to do.
Can I talk about the esthetician stuff with you?
Sure.
Okay. I mean, hey, we said we're going to talk about it all. So, obviously, as we know, Alyssa has a salon. She's an esthetician, this and that. And just being real, it's not something that only you probably face in this industry. It's probably everyone in the industry. Like, there gets to be a time when, like, it's a really booming business, and there's so many other estheticians in the area.
Especially within the upcoming past years, yeah.
Yeah, and, like, there's only more people becoming estheticians. And it's not like you wish them bad, but it kind of is like, oh my gosh, if there's 39 estheticians in a, 10-mile radius, like, think about the competition there and, like, why are people going to choose me? Like, am I good enough to do this? Like, 29 other people are doing it. Like, you can go down that whole imposter syndrome with that. But something I always, like, tell Alyssa when it comes to that is, like, you really got to think that, like, we're all humans. We all think of a human connection. Like, it doesn't matter if you're doing someone's facial or I am or the next person. Like, people,
same service,
it's
same
the same
products.
Service, but the grit, the hustle, and the work you put in on top of just that human connection you have.
Or even the experience that you receive from the person that you are getting serviced by.
Yes, 100%. Don't underestimate it.
For example, I'm really happy you brought this up because do you remember yesterday how I'm coming out with a Namaste facial?
Yeah.
This is going to be my signature kind of meditation
facial. The video is actually on YouTube already.
And I just want to say that this is my thing. I'm just kidding. No, I'm joking. But this is something that I've literally probably worked on for a few months throughout facials. I've been testing it out on my clients, and yesterday I actually did it on that one client, right? I told her, I'm going to let you take a deep breath and some ins and outs and yada, yada, yadas. And I told her, I'm going to cover your face with a hydro jelly, and I'm going to have as I was doing the facial on her, because I feel like I'm just a very intuitive person, when people walk in my salon, I already feel your energy. I already know what you're kind of, I don't know, I just feel like I can pick up what you're putting down, and I felt like this girl really had a lot of problems going on at work, and really just need to focus and kind of recuperate her thoughts and find just gratitude in things outside of her work life. Mm-hmm. So I picked a meditation I thought was good for her. It was about 7 to 10 minutes. In that time, I kind of sprayed some meditation spray, and I played it for her. And I was sitting out here in the waiting room because I want to step out so that can be her space for her thoughts to roam. And I started hearing her kind of snoring. And I was like, oh my gosh, I hope she didn't completely fall asleep. Yeah. When I took it off of her, she literally was just like, that was so life-changing. And I was like, did you fall asleep? She's like, yeah. She's like, but I heard everything. And that's the whole point of meditating, is now she's going to leave with a better kind of mindset,
reset.
And it felt really good to do something like that for somebody. But with this whole esthetician thing, I'm not saying that people can't do all the same things. There's multiple hairstylists, dentists, servers, so on and so forth. There's millions of people in the world. We all can't possibly service all these people, but I've put in a lot of work from the ground up, and I definitely can say that when I was 18, graduating from cosmetology school, esthetician school wasn't really a crazy thing. But since I've been in this salon and having people around my age come in, I feel like they come in and they look at all the stuff in here and they see that I'm not older, and they're like, oh, well, this is easy. Yeah. But you have to understand that it comes with work, and if you want to do it, do it. If that's your passion, do it. But you have to. It's got to be something that almost comes naturally. Don't just do it because you want to make quick money. Don't just do it.
No.
Not for the money.
And I think another thing with the imposter syndrome too, someone said this to me in a class one time, and it always stuck with me. When especially feel like you're new in a business.
Sweet tea worth purchasing?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Watch other episode to understand. But especially if you're new, you're younger, you're new to a business, whatever it is, it's we kind of want to act a certain way to appeal people higher up. If you work for someone or if you're starting your own thing, act a certain way to fit into an industry. And this person said in the class, he was like, honestly, the best thing you can do is to be you. Because you're most confident in your best self. You're more confident in what you can do as you than what you can do impersonating the other person that's an esthetician, right? So it's if you're just you, the unique thing about that, really think about it, is that
nobody else can be
fully you. We're all human, but nobody can be exactly you, and you can't be exactly me, no matter how many similarities you have. So there's going to be people that don't choose your business and like someone else, but there's going to be the right people that are going to choose you, and you have to literally just not copy someone else, not worry about that stuff. If you are purely you and you have hustle and grit,
Yeah, those things should not.
those things come. And it's like, someone could come and I could slap the same products on their face that you slap on their face.
So it could be a completely different experience.
But it could be a whole different experience.
It's literally, honestly, just like going and getting your nails done or something. Like,
Yeah.
the same person that you go to all the time, and then
someone else, and
you
you're
go
like,
to
no,
this
no,
nail
no.
salon right up the street, and you're like, oh my god, Alyssa, this was the worst experience I've ever had.
Yeah.
Because it's different.
I do also think, though, the more you climb that mountain, you're also in, like, what's the word? Coordination? What's
I
the
almost
word?
feel...
In synchronicity?
Oh, you're like in sync?
Like, at the same time you're climbing that mountain of consciousness, you're also going to grow your intuitive abilities. Like, you're going to tune into yourself more. And the more you climb that mountain, since you are more
like
intuitive,
you become untouchable.
Yeah,
Like I know,
It can't get to you 'cause
like
you're you.
I know who I am. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know there might be people in the industry that don't know me and think they do. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But like at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, all I have is me and who I know that I am. And you can't sit here and ponder.
It feels good to know who you are too.
No, it does,
it
because there was a
sucks when you
time when
don't.
you really don't, and you almost feel like, and you know it. You know when you don't know yourself.
But you have to climb that
and you
mountain.
can't just ignore it. There's a
And-
lot of people that really ignore.
Yeah, and a lot of people that just pretend to be somebody else. It's really, really never going to get you to the best place. The more you climb the mountain, the more intuitive you are. Honestly, if you put it into business, the more successful your business will be. Because think about it. The namaste facial, that's not a normal thing that happens, right? But that's like you really tuning into yourself and you feel these things that you feel like come to your mind for a reason. You're called to do, and you're bringing in the stuff you've learned, the wisdom you've learned, and combining that to a service that is creating a whole new thing. But that's not something someone else would come up with because it's really uniquely what you were led to.
Yeah.
But you had to connect with who Alyssa was to get there. You're not just going to, if you're just being the person that everybody else is, you're just going to do the same things everyone else is.
I feel like you're the first person that, after you booked that first appointment with me when we started becoming friends again, I feel like you're the first person to notice how much I had changed and really worked on myself.
Yeah.
And it was honestly so good to hear it from somebody that, I don't know, from an outside perspective, but people notice, and you notice when you're changed.
Here's the other thing I'm going to say. People notice. It's not like I was the only one that noticed. There's also you have to not let these people get to you. There are a lot of people that will notice, but they want nothing more than to not say anything to you. Like, people do not uplift one another. And, okay.
Support one
another. Think about what happens when you work out. You release endorphins. This makes you mentally happier. The only other way to release these endorphins are to help. Like, you really gain something from helping someone else. You get that little happy feeling. You know it every time you've done it, right?
Yeah.
So giving a compliment, paying for the person behind you, being don't lie, but if you think something, say it. You know what I mean? We need to it's just if you want a certain energy, you got to give that certain energy. But you also, if you're the person on that mountain, or you're the person on your business journey, or on your self-care journey, or in a new job, or whatever it is, right? You just have to know that you have to really believe in yourself and find yourself and climb the fucking mountain, okay? And other people see it, girl, they see it, but they're not going to say it because a lot of people who are on the bottom of that mountain want nothing more than to not give you any, compliment, whatever.
I'd also feel like, too, something else that a lot of people do is or at least try not to do this, but a lot of people do this thing where we brag about the good things that happen to us, and it's that's where you go wrong, is
yeah.
I'm not saying, you buy a new car and you're so proud of myself, bought a new car, yada, yada, yada. It's I can't even explain it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Actually, this is off topic, I guess, but kind of that. I feel tell me if I'm wrong, there's two types of people. Think about all the people you know. You have the one type of person brags about everything, right? You know that their life is so perfect and they would want nothing more than to make you think it's perfect. They're never going to tell you about their downfall. Then you have the other person. It's not good or bad, but I think it's bad. The other person, my opinion, I just slapping myself with a fucking bottle. Okay. Anyways, then
why do I already know what you're about to say though before you say it? And
well, let's see if you're right. Okay.
I'm pretty sure I am.
You have the other person that all they do, it's negative energy. It's complaining Kathy. It's all they do is tell you how horrible their life is and do nothing about it.
Miserable.
And they want you to say
it's I don't know.
They want you to say they want that compliment, which I get it. Like, maybe they really do need it. But it's almost like, just ask me, like, hey, can you just tell me I look good right now? Because I'm not feeling it. Or, like, no. But it's just, like, you just have that. You have the one person that can't ever admit to not having a perfect life. You have the other person that wants you to know their whole life sucks. And
you know what?
Yeah.
People that make it seem like their families are, like, perfect, right? That's a big thing as... I could really go into this topic, but I have to be careful how I word things. There's some people that use their life and social media, obviously, like we said, but it's like you legitimately couldn't possibly let somebody see a fault in anything in your life. Like the people that take a picture of something on their floor, right? Or they take a picture of their child and then they're like, but don't mind the cheese puffs on the carpet. She just had a snack. Like, okay, you don't have to.
Like, I don't care that the cheese puffs are there, but it's also it's
the
problem
fact
of this
that
world.
but the problem lies with the person, because that person is already thinking, oh my god, somebody's gonna see this and be like, oh my god, her carpet's so dirty. But like, if you know that you're cleaning your carpet and you know your carpet isn't dirty, then why are you explaining yourself?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
There's
like, it's
no
soulfully everything and
or
thought
also,
and.
I know this is going to be another
with you.
episode because I kind of have like a really strong opinion on this, but cancel culture, we all know it's a thing. It's the worst thing to ever exist because we're human for a reason. If we weren't meant to make mistakes, we wouldn't be a human. We would be like, I don't know, a god. Like, you know what I mean? Like, human literally is someone that does good, that does wrong. You know, you're mortal. You don't have all the answers. You're not always thinking rational. You don't do everything right. You live, you learn, and the ultimate goal in this life is to take all the things you've done wrong, turn them into lessons, and become a better person and gain wisdom and knowledge and do what you're here to do. That's what I believe.
Freaking
Preach.
Point.
But
preach that shit.
With cancel culture, you know, that's why people are thinking that way. And I would say we can't fix... You know, it doesn't matter how many times people say F cancel culture. There's people out there that spend their whole life being little bots and saying rude things. But the thing is, it really does lie within you. And I think tying that back into the mountain of consciousness, that's what you realize.
If you're so kind of
in tuned with you, if you're in tuned with you and you know you clean your carpet, right? Or you know that you don't, like, your kid is doing good, like, whatever. If you're fine with yourself and you know yourself and you climb the mountain and you have the broader perspective, it doesn't matter if people want to comment this or say this or cancel you, because you know where your intentions are. Doesn't mean you do everything right. We're not here to do everything right. But you know where your intentions lie. You know when you've done wrong, when you've done right, how to fix it. But that's also a personal journey. It's not something that needs to be discussed with everyone either. It's not like you have to, you know, if everyone's like, I can't believe you had Cheetos on the floor, you don't have to post your next thing saying, I have to make a public disclaimer that I have Cheetos on the floor. Like, that's something maybe you just think, yeah, you know, right?
And even if, you know, you did post that picture, right? And there is that annoying Kathy that comments and is like, oh my god, your carpet's so dirty. Like, are you gonna reply to her and be like, you know, yada, 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 and explain yourself? Or do you have the capacity to basically look at the comment, read that it's rude, and just realize that that person obviously has some bigger issues going on, and ignore it? You don't have to address everything in your life. You don't have to tell somebody why you're doing something. You know, if you want to do it, you do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're always going to face judgment. You're going to face people that disagree with you, and it's good to be aware, and, like, you know, if everyone's telling you something, maybe you should internally reflect and say, oh, maybe, you know, that was wrong or whatever. But that doesn't mean that everyone's right and you're always wrong and you have to apologize. But to wrap it up with the mountain of consciousness, it doesn't matter cancel culture or not. It doesn't matter competition in your business or not. It doesn't matter any of this stuff. When you climb the mountain and you gain this greater perspective of life, in turn, you grow your intuition and you tune into yourself. You get stronger internally.
And remember, this is your mountain. You know what I mean?
It's your mountain.
This is your mountain, your bubble you're popping out of, you know, whatever. This is you.
Within
you.
This is
all your world. Within you.
When you do that, it doesn't matter what's going on in the world or what, you know, you might face. You'll just be fine because it comes from within you.
And you're fine. And what if you know that you're fine, you're fine. Put up that mental block, ignore, focus on your freaking mountain, and enjoy your fucking life.
So I would say French. Fucking French.
I'm so tired of it.
Just get it all out.
I actually will start reading up on some French curse words, I promise.
It's probably the same. If you're from France, let us know.
I know, that would sound so stupid.
Challenge yourself, really, to...
Yeah, this week, start, you know...
Climb to that mountain, girl.
Image and picture your mountain in your head and start...
Literally visualize it.
Yeah, start working up your mountain. And, like, try really changing your perspective, for real.
Yeah, just try to see it like that. Tune in with yourself and you'll start noticing
such a good life, you know... Whether you're driving your car right now, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's fine.
waking up in the morning. I hope that this is like something that just honestly changes your
we're not just saying it because we read it. This is something like we both experienced kind of cohesively, and it's changed our lives. We wouldn't be sitting here today doing this if we didn't climb our mountains. We're not at the top. We're like 3/4 there.
I just think it was funny that I was reading this little quote out of the book to her, and, you know, we both kind of looked up at each other like, oh my God, that's so...
What happened?
Yeah, and it is really our lives, and it's really in sync, and I'm really happy that we kind of have the same mental capacity to
if you keep this analogy of the mountain of consciousness in your head, you'll actually just start working towards it without even trying.
Me just talking about this right now I feel good. Yeah, I do.
It'll change your life. So, Alyssa.
Always put me on the spot.
Yeah. What is your one punchline that you can take away from today that we can apply to our weeks ahead?
I think
this is really heavy, like a serious topic
I think the takeaway from today is to start figuring all the negative things in your life, turn them into positives.
Yeah.
And really start getting in tune with yourself. And being okay with your wrongdoings, whatever it is, and
grow.
Make your way up. Yeah, grow. Make your way up that fucking mountain, sis.
Yeah.
French, sorry.
Yeah.
But really do it. Make your way up there.
I agree.
Nobody really gets, I guess, to the peak, but the peak is honestly, I think, it's a peaceful, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You want to get to the place where you're at peace. So that is a good takeaway. I don't know what I'm supposed to say because I feel like that was the takeaway.
I'm sorry to just suck it out of your mouth.
Yeah, is that what you feel like when I say something? Oh, yeah.
Dirty.
Yeah. Anyways, we should start. Never mind.
No,
I'm not even going to say what I was going to say.
I know.
In addition to that, the more in tune you are with yourself, better life gets.
Yeah.
So take the time this week, even if it's just 10 minutes, a 10-minute walk every single day to tune in with yourself. You know what I mean? Just take
those 10 minutes
in the morning,
a day. Make yourself some coffee and sit down before you get ready for your day.
And mind you, we're not saying this out of like textbook advice of self-care. Like this is genuinely like the raw version. Like this is true. I'm not going to be like light a candle, take a bath. No. It looks different for all of us, but this is true stuff.
True.
Walks are a real thing. Anyway, I should do it. I need to do it more.
Yeah, me
and
too.
take my dog.
Me too. Yeah, I know. Me too.
Poor
Malachi. But anyway, I'm really happy with, I guess, all the feedback we're getting from our podcast. So
yeah. Like we always say, if you want to share a story, please share it. We obviously have experiences and stuff, but we really would love to be able to share other people's experiences and make this more of a community. Like share.
And if you don't feel comfortable commenting your experience, you can always just DM us and
we'll keep it anonymous.
Just it's a safe space.
Yeah, it's a safe space. But video version on YouTube. So if you're not watching the video version, check out our YouTube. We also post some other videos. We have a TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all the good stuff. And yeah, the podcast is on all your podcast platforms. So make sure to subscribe, download, save, like, comment, all the good stuff.
All the good vibes.
We will see you next Monday.
Yay!
Bye.
Adios.
Wait.
What?
Every time.
What?
Indulge. Indulge. I'm sorry. Did you like throw up Indulge? It's not good for the brand. Indulge. Barf it up.
No.
All right.
Indulge in yourself.
No. We're never doing that in synchronicity again. But that can be good for this episode. You're welcome.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Bye.